to the Aboriginal channel. This episode will be another part to an ancestor search. So right here in Pennsylvania, Johnstown, Pennsylvania, they have a place called the mass grave of Johnstown's unknown dead. It's called the Unknown Plot. The Johnstown flood of May 31st, 1889 left behind thousands of dead victims in only 10 minutes of destruction. Epic disease and more death were real possibilities, so the corpses were buried hastily, leaving hundreds unidentified. Pause. Now, I looked at this pretty good and it just doesn't add up. The numbers don't add up. So in 1889, Johnstown was in Pennsylvania in Cambria County. Now, when you go to the demographics on the Wikipedia page, it says that Cambria County currently is 95% white and only 2% so-called black. But over here in 1889, they had 46,000 people in the county. And in 1890, which would have been 1 year after the flood that took out thousands of people in the county, they had a 20,000 person increase. And that was their biggest population increase of their known existence, because they started right here, it says in 1804, right there, 1804. So if you look down this list till you get to 1890, in between 1880 and 1890, they had their major increase within those years. And I'm telling you that that's impossible for a county to have its largest increase in population a year after a so-called flood took out so-called thousands of people, to where hundreds were left unidentified, as it says right here, leaving hundreds unidentified. It says 5 months later, in the hope that some corpses might be recognized, all were dug up and reburied in a 20,000 square foot plot of the city's new Grandview Cemetery. No word on how many were saved off the total, but nearly 800 ended up under identical blank marble headstones in the plot of the unknowns. And in 1892, 3 years later, they created the Monument to the Unknown Dead, which was this big old thing right here with a person or a woman standing up there at the top. Now, in previous videos, I spoke about how they would mark the site to let them know who was buried there. And this monument, the fact that it goes up like this with these steps, and then there's a person standing up there, this is the marker right here to let you know who's buried here, which is Indians, because this whole thing right here is a replica of Indian culture. This is exactly what Indians would do to post outside of a place where the bones of their dead were placed. So it's a replica. It's a culture vulturalism. So what I believe happened was that a flood came through and unearthed a bunch of corpses, which was fabricated in a narrative to us to say that the flood is what killed the people. So after they found a designated area for it, they went around and dug up what they could find and placed them in a mass grave. And also the word unknown, when you say unknown or unnamed or unidentified, more than likely those was American Indians. The reason why I say they designated the place and then went around and unearthed all the people and put them in there, because right here it says some of the nearly 500 knowns buried here as well. So they have more unknowns buried there than they have knowns. So the place was dedicated for the unknown plot. It says right here that the Vermont granite is a sarcophagus surmounted by 3 larger-than-life allegorical women: faith, hope, and charity. Hope points heavenward, suggesting the unknown's final destination. And this place is more than likely on a mound, as it says Grandview, which is called the Grandview Cemetery. Grandview is up on an impressive bluff overlooking the city. It goes on to say that it occurred to us in a feeble epiphany that if any of these people had been visiting this cemetery instead of down in town when the flood occurred, they would not have died. More than likely, this was a burial mound that they found to reinter the bodies they found from the flood. Now, another bit of correlation is right here, where in this old clipping I found, it says that a plot of unknown dead containing 779 unknown bodies of victims of the Johnstown flood of 1889. Down here it says over 2,400 lives lost out of population of 30,000. Okay, this was in 1889. When you go, it says the population was 30,000 and they lost 2,400. Brought them down to 27,600 people. Yet right here, the population had a major increase increase, which is pretty much unexplainable. I'm sure there's many scenarios that can make the numbers plausible. However, after seeing so much stuff like this, I can only see it one way. And I just base that primarily on the numbers. You can't have 1,000 unknown people in a community of 30,000 people. It's just no way, especially back in those days when things were so tightly knit. Through the history books, which has all been a lie. So therefore, if it's a lie, then what's the truth? If it's a lie, then what's the truth?